You're listening to Send in the Experts with Georgina Durrant. This podcast is all about teaching and supporting children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, SEND. My name is Georgina Durrant. I'm the host of this podcast brought to you by Twinkle SEND. As a former teacher and Senko myself, I wanted to create a platform to share some of the amazing things that my guests are doing to support learners with SEND. So whether you're listening on your commute, tuning in whilst walking your dog, or curled up on the sofa with a nice cup of coffee, thank you so much for joining us. In this episode, I am ridiculously excited to be joined by Lizzie Acker. Lizzie Acker is most well known for being an extremely popular contestant on Channel 4's Great British Bake Off in 2021. She is an amateur baker from Liverpool with a huge personality who proved she has the talent and consistency by reaching the quarterfinals. She's very open about having ADHD, dyslexia and dyspraxia, and keen to work to raise awareness of the conditions. Lizzie continues her baking journey and showcases her talent through demonstrations, television, social media and digital campaigns. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
I imagine everyone says this, but I am genuinely a huge fan of Bake Off and I've been so excited to speak to you. We watch Bake Off as a family. So what I do is we watch it on catch up the next day with the kids after school and we all pick like a favourite. So we all sit around and we decide who we think, and we have to do it in the first 5 minutes, who's going to be our favourite. And then we see if somebody picks the winning one. And I actually picked you. So my kids are thinking I've got major street cred from speaking to you now.
Oh, I'm gutted I didn't win for you then. Gutted.
Yeah, you should have won for me. That would have been good. I could have actually won the challenge.
Me and my family do the same. We watch it and then off the first episode you've got to pick the winner, but we put money behind it, so there's always a good jackpot at the end.
Oh, maybe when the kids are a bit older we might put money behind it then. Yeah, that would be good.
Great.
I think we've done it with like cake, like the winner gets some cake, but I don't think anyone's actually picked the winning person. And they tend to be a bit sneaky to my kids and like change halfway through who they're going to support.
Oh, we get proper into it. Write it down. The year before I was on it, 5 people picked Peter.
Really?
Yeah, it was so strange.
Wow.
Because we were like, how did they all know?
Yeah.
He was just
How can
you
know just from your first instinct? Yeah, because we have to do it before they even... I think we do it after the intro, so you know the bit where they go and say who everybody is. We do it after that, so you really don't know very much about that person and what they're going to be like. Oh, so Bake Off, if we could talk about that first, and I'll try and rein in my excitement and caffeine. So were you a fan of Bake Off before then? Were you into it?
So I've loved Bake Off for years. Watch it every year with my family. Obviously, it's this massive competition.
Yeah.
I absolutely love everything about it. But wasn't, never used to do like so some people do bake-alongs, don't they? And bake-along with it. I've never done that. I've just admired it and obviously loved some of the bakers, followed them for ages. And I'm a massive Bake Off fangirl. Like, so when I've met bakers, I'm like, oh my God.
That makes me feel better that I've been a bit like that with you.
Oh, I'm like that with everyone. Like, so I'm doing a few food festivals in the summer, and Benjamina's going to be there, and I love Benjamina. And all the bakers from this year are like, you've got to act cool. Don't just fangirl. You go to look weird. And I'm like, I'm going to get there, see her, and probably scream or cry.
Give them a cuddle.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So how do you apply for Bake Off then? What's the actual process? How does it go? How did you go about applying? Were you certain from watching it that you were thinking, right, I'm going to apply, or did it happen by accident? What happened?
No, so it was lockdown, wasn't it? So we're in lockdown. Bake Off had been on. It got so much attention because everyone was trapped. And one of my friends is a pastry chef. And he was like, you should apply this year. And I was like, as if. Because I'd only really started picking up loads of baking again during lockdown. And I was just like, yeah, whatevs. And he was like, no, you've got to. And then the day before the applications had to be sent off, he texted me and he was like, have you applied? And I was like, no. I was like, I did fill it out, I just haven't sent it. And he was like, if you don't send it, I am going to apply for you.
Brilliant.
So I was like, fine, I'll send it. Sent it. Didn't expect anything back because I didn't get anyone to check the words, nothing. It's like the first form I've ever filled out and didn't get anyone to check because I thought nothing of it. and then suddenly got a call back.
No way.
And was just like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy.
How long after you sent the application did you get the phone call then? Was it out of the blue? Had you forgotten about it and then you just got a phone call, or was it quite soon?
Yeah, so I was in work, and then this unknown number started ringing me.
I wouldn't have answered. I'd have been like, oh.
Well, I didn't. It went to voicemail, so I've still got the voicemail now, which is lovely. Yeah, and it was like, oh, this is blah-de-blah from Bake Off. Could you give us a ring back? And I was like, I just went into shock mode and like got out of one of the cars and was like to the lads, Bake Off's just rang me. I've got to go. And I just went for a little walk. I was just like in this complete little world by myself, like, what's going on?
That's amazing. Brilliant. And then after that, so do you have like a process after that of like them whittling down who they want? How does it work?
Yeah. So there's a couple of rounds within the audition process. No one could go into too much detail because I think they basically keep it pretty much the same every year. So
you could be helping someone out too much, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like 6 rounds, and they're all like all different, but obviously because we were in the middle of lockdowns and stuff, a lot of ours were done over computer and stuff like that. Loads of, like Zoom meetings. You'd finish one Zoom meeting and then be like, oh, you've just got to do this one, and then it was endless.
It was so bizarre.
It was the weirdest thing ever, but it did not keep me and my family going.
Absolutely, what a thing to do in lockdown as well. Yeah,
it was the only new thing that was happening. So every time I get through, like, and they'd say, oh, here's another like vid Zoom call to do, we'd have a celebration and we'd be like, woo! So
I love it.
I didn't expect anything from it. I was just happy that I got as far as I did, because I know some people apply so many years on the run and stuff.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It couldn't have come a better time almost for you all then, because it would be something to think about, something different to distract you all during lockdown. That's brilliant.
It did.
And then when you were doing it then, were you, because your family wouldn't have been able to come with you, would they? You know how in previous years the family have been able to go along and you'd be able to go home and stuff. Were you in a bubble?
Yeah, so we filmed in a COVID bubble, so all my family had to isolate the week before I went, and I had to isolate. And then when we got down there, we had to do COVID tests and all that. There was a point where I was going to take Prue the dog with me.
I've seen your dog. I actually follow her on social media now. When I was doing my research on you, I was like, oh, she's got a dog. Oh, look at her dog. And then I was like, I've got to follow her on Instagram. So if anyone's listening who likes,
Bedlington Terrier.
You've got to follow Prudence on Instagram because she's adorable, isn't she?
Yeah, and she's just the biggest, stress relief that I've got.
Yeah.
Like walking her and talking to her and stuff like that. So there was one point where I was thinking, like, am I actually going to be able to, because I really don't cope well with change.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, am I going to be able to like adjust fast enough and stuff? Should I take her? And then in the end I was too worried because she is very particular. That they weren't going to look after it to her standards. She only drinks out of porcelain or like bowls, and you've got to say to her, Prue water.
Oh,
otherwise she's not going to drink. So
it's like a proper princess.
Yeah, I was thinking they're going to be like jog on meat.
You're bringing your celebrity dog with you then.
Yeah.
Only drinks out of porcelain cups when she's instructed to. Yeah,
she's already an Instagrammer. She doesn't need Bake Off.
No. Bless her, that's so funny. She's got loads of followers as well, hasn't she?
Oh no, it was so weird. So she before Bake Off, she did have like 3,000, I think.
Yeah.
Because I used to go to all like these mad little. The dog world is such a weird little niche world, and I used to go out and like meet all these like dog Instagrammers and stuff of Liverpool. Honestly, it's so strange. And then someone seen it like on Bake Off. I think they had her up for 2 minutes, and then people found out she had an Instagram, and then she just got flooded. And I hadn't been on the Instagram since like the start of lockdown 1, and was like, oh wow, I'm gonna have to post some stuff.
Yeah, need to put some pictures of her now. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's had some PR boxes and everything.
No way.
Yeah, oh, she is. She loves it. She was made for the life.
Born to be famous. Eh?
Yeah.
So she was left behind then, and then who did you leave her with?
So she stayed. I currently live at the back of my mum and dad's house.
Oh, cool.
So she just stayed.
Stay there.
Yeah, they looked after her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so then I went down, and I think you had to commit to 6 weeks.
Right.
I think that's how long it took to film everything. But obviously, if you got knocked out, you'd go home the next day.
Oh gosh, only one day. Because you imagine we're there for like a week, because it's a week when we're watching it. But yeah, a day, that's harsh.
So we filmed, we had a couple of days at the start with no filming, to do, like them photos of the flower and all that, get used to practice tent and everything like that. And then we filmed 2 days on, 2 days off. So it was really intense.
Yeah,
that's why I definitely had that little weird breakdown week 2, and Matt was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "Watch Harry Potter." And everyone was like, "If she's not serious about bacon, she shouldn't be there." And I was like, "You need to chill out."
Oh, so is that like keyboard warriors?
Oh yeah,
saying things like
on
that.
Twitter,
that's harsh.
And everything. And I was just like, at that point, because I'd obviously I quite obviously got SEN issues, and that's what I found hilarious about talking about them. And I talked about them before when I was counting biscuits and stuff, and they obviously chose not to put in the edit. But the amount of people who messaged me was like, watched it for about 10 minutes and knew you had SEN issues. And I was like, all right.
Could have done with you like the start of school when you needed a diagnosis early. They can spot it that easily, but school would miss it.
Everyone's been on TikTok now for 2 years. They can diagnose you with anything.
Absolutely. All the experts. Oh dear. So what was your favourite bit then? What was the best bit for you of Bake Off? What did you enjoy the most?
What I enjoyed the most was probably not the filming. It was just the messing about. That would get up to, because obviously it's so compact and it's so intense that everyone's on these mad highs and lows to keep everyone going. Say I was down, Chigs would come and give you the most amazing hugs, and Maggie would give pep talks, and the morale of everyone, keeping everyone going, and no one was everyone's like, oh, don't you want to win? And I was like, sod winning, I'm just having a great time. I just want to be here. Me and Freya would go and sit on, I had a little weird patio, and we'd go and sit there and drink Marks and Spencer tinnies and just have a good time, have a laugh.
Yeah, you seem to get on really well with Noel as well. There was definitely you seem to bounce off each other. Are you still friends with him now?
I think he's the same level as Crazy, to be honest. I think at some point he was looking at me thinking where
you're a step ahead.
Yeah.
There was that bit.
The ostrich.
Yeah, the ostrich, where you were saying, you were like, oh, you don't like ostriches. And it's like, oh, why? As if there surely can't be a reason. And you're like, yes. What did you say? It was, you were on its back and it was running around or something. And he's
it ran away
what?
With me. He never believed anything I said. And I'd be like, Google it. Because that's the thing. I remember random pieces of information, and then they obviously come up to you and try and engage and have these random conversations. So sometimes I'd be like, oh, do you know someone's married to the Eiffel Tower? And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, Google it, fact checked it, because I know it's real. Her name's Elsa Eiffel or something.
Is that true?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I used to come out with loads of weird stuff, and they'd just be like, is she lying? Where's she from? And I'd be like...
And I bet they've got to be careful as well, putting it on air. If somebody's just coming up with all these random lies, they don't want to include them in case it's just what? But yeah, that's really cool. It looks so much fun. It had such a laugh. I loved as well when there was one episode, I think you were wearing a matching top to Noel as well. He was wearing one with big smiley faces or something. Weren't you wearing one the same? He was just
man, that's sad. And no one... So I turned up, that was my first day outfit. Noel's obviously gets styled and stuff, and he turned up and he was like, we didn't know. And I was just like, what? And everyone was like, why are they the same? And I was just like, and then I was like, to like the behind the scenes people, like, you should tell me what he's going to dress like each week, and I'll just dress like him. And they were just looking at me like, this girl's creepy.
Oh, brilliant. Are you still friends with any of the Bake Off like people anymore? Do you still hang out with any of them?
Yeah. So we're obviously super close to Freya.
Yeah.
She's actually moving in with me.
No way.
Yeah, so she's gonna move in with me once my house is finished. We went to see Chigs about 2 weekends ago. Yeah, so really close to a lot of them still. Always on the phone to Amanda, and Maggie is like the sweetest. Obviously, me and Freya done a road trip.
Yeah,
after Bake Off.
I did see on Instagram that there was a few photos of you and Freya.
Yeah, so yeah, we are like super, super close. It's got to the point now where people invite us to events, and you're like, oh, do I have a +1? They're like, oh, well, we invited you and Freya. And you're like, sad. I mean, it would be a very strange duo. I feel like we've got like, yeah, she's got all the vegans on side. There I am eating KFC. Like, she's only 20 as well. Like, she's dead. Is goal orientated, you know, like she's
like really determined. Yeah, awesome. Well, that's cool. And I think the most memorable part of Bake Off for me, and I'm sure everyone talks about this, was your incredible cake that you created to like celebrate neurodiversity and all of that. And I think it had such an impact on people, didn't it? Could you tell just in case somebody's not watched Bake Off, could you tell us about your cake and what it was like?
So it was gluten-free week, and obviously we get these weird briefs, and they say stuff like, it's got to relate back to an aspect of your life. It's gluten-free. And at that point, I was like, what is gluten-free? Like, so I took myself down to Asda and then found out that there's like gluten-free soy sauce. And I was like, I thought soy sauce was just salt. So I was trying to think like, how am I going to link this? And then I was thinking, well, gluten-free people obviously feel different in some way to the rest of society, like must feel a bit marginalised. So I was like, how am I different? I was like, I'm different because I've got a load of SEN issues, so I've always been on that side, or, you know, like taken out of classes to do something else. So I was like, I'll mix them both. And that cake evolved so much.
It was brilliant.
The first time I tried it at home, it had letters all over it. It looked so messy, and I was just like, this just isn't right. And then in the practice tent the day before, it came out horrendous because I just I'd ran out of concentration. I was absolutely done. Obviously the group's getting smaller. Freya had gone home, George had just gone home, and George used to look after me so much. Like, because so George works with people with special needs.
Oh, really? Wow.
So his pod used to be next to mine. So the week before, I was getting quite stressed over the tarts. Yeah. And George would go and get me lemonades from the bar and just be like, just have a little 10 minutes and drink a lemonade, you know, like keep hydrated. And
yeah, he really understood.
Yeah, so it was a big loss to lose George, and I was just like, this is it. I'm done. This is the only cake that I wanted to do, and it's going to come out terrible.
Oh, no.
And then on the day, it just worked. And then what you didn't see is like Chigs came over and was helping me paint the things gold, because everyone finished so early compared to me. It took me an hour and 40 minutes to pipe that cake.
I'm not surprised. It was literally covered in different coloured piping, wasn't it? It looked incredible. I was amazed.
And when you're there, you don't really... I think everything happens so fast, you don't really take anything in. So, you know, when Paul and Prue come over and talk to you, you're just kind of like going like through the motions, thinking, go away so I can finish my cake.
So you get that feeling sometimes when you're watching the contest that they seem to come at like the most stressful part, and people are just like, just leave me alone.
Yeah, and I remember that day, they hated the fact that I used food colouring and everything. Paul Hollywood hates food colouring.
Does he?
Yeah. So I had all these bowls filled with all these different coloured waters, and seeing them walking over, and I was thinking, this is the worst part that they could have walked over, because he's going to instantly be like, look at all that colour, what's this girl doing again? And they were like, oh, you've just got to concentrate and all this. And Twitter went mental, because Twitter was like, how can you tell someone to concentrate after they've just said they've got ADHD and a concentration disorder? So it was hilarious to watch it back and then see social media.
Yeah, and see the response they got.
Yeah, it got the most positive response out of any Bake Off post, I think, on
no way.
their social
I'm not
medias.
Surprised, to be honest. It was incredible, and the message it gave out. And it wasn't it like Keira Knightley said that she like bawled when she saw it because of her own dyslexia diagnosis, which that must have been like, what? Did you have any idea that it would have such an impact on people when you were doing it?
I didn't think it would at all, because I think the thing with having SEN issues is when you get diagnosed and stuff, you feel like it's just you, don't you?
Yeah.
And obviously you sometimes go to like special departments, and there's like 5 or 6 kids, and you think like, oh, I'm just like one of a few, but it's like 1 in 7 people is neurodiverse. There's so many, and I think it's just people don't openly speak about it. So the outreach was there because people don't see it on telly. No. It was spoken about, and I think it's a really positive thing to be neurodiverse. I don't see it as any sort of disability. I think it's it's just a different way of thinking, and it makes you think outside the box, and you can think all these great magical things that some people can't think. And come up with ideas like that. So I think it's a positive. So I think it was a shock for people to see it spoken about positively, to see it on an 8:00 slot on a major channel. And I think people were just like, the outreach was absolutely amazing. It was lovely.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. When you were growing up, did you ever see anybody in the media who had special educational needs? Was there any role models you had? Because looking back, I think there's been quite a big change recently in terms of the media portraying people positively, but I can't think back of anyone really being positively portrayed when I was younger. I don't know about you. Was there anyone?
So I remember in my dyslexic unit on the wall, it was people who had SEN issues, and it was Whoopi Goldberg and Einstein.
Yeah, so not really relatable, sort of.
No, not at all. You can't imagine them having a life and how they do certain tasks. And I think that's what was really good about Bake Off as well, because it's such an intense task orientated thing to see someone with ADHD on there.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
are like, oh wow, you can focus for that long, because people seem to think that we're hyper squirrels, just go mental. They're not going to be able to concentrate for 4 hours. So I think
because sometimes it can work, I think, where you can sort of hyper focus in some ways, can't you? So you can get really, really focused. It's sort of the opposite way. Is that more for you then? Do you find it that way?
I think it was the Bake Off setting was really good, because obviously there's no distractions.
Yeah.
If I'm at home, I'm a bit of a flitter sometimes, so I'll go out, walk the dog, and come back and start. But Bake Off, you're stuck there. You can't do anything else. So for me, on Bake Off, what was a major thing was I limited myself to doing one task at a time.
Yeah.
Because I knew I'd get really overwhelmed and start not doing everything correct.
Yeah.
So that's why I used to, when we used to watch it back, my mum used to be like, you don't move, and I'd be stood there staring at a jam for 15 minutes and everyone else is running around, and I'm just like,
just staring at my jam.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So that was sort of coping strategy that presumably you've learned through childhood, and you used it at Bake Off, so sort of giving yourself set tasks and not doing too much at once, not sort of multitasking, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Because that was the thing. It was just finding my own way through it that I could kind of cope with.
Did they put in any sort of special adjustments to help you at Bake Off?
So there was, if I couldn't read anything, that they were gonna, one of the producers would read for me, because I was dead worried about the technical challenge.
Oh yeah, of course.
Obviously the instructions. I had dyslexic friendly font, and all my writing was in a bigger size and had more spacing. So I had that put in place, which was hilarious because when like you speak to a psychologist and they ask you, you know, like whether anything needs to be put in place, and I said all that, and then when I was speaking to production staff, they were like, "Oh, the year before, so Dave had his technicals in a certain font, and there was major on the internet because it was like written like Cabrio or something." And it was like, it's so weird. People like stop and zoom in to see what font you're using.
That is, wow.
Who's that bothered?
Wow, that's amazing. So when you were at school, what was school like for you? Was it a pleasant experience with special education needs, or was it challenging? What was it like?
It was definitely challenging. I think because I am quite easy breezy, I could mask a lot of things.
Yeah.
And some of things like I just like pretended like never had an effect on me, but obviously did. Yeah, and then so I went to a couple of different schools, and then my sixth form was like an old private school.
Okay.
And they didn't really recognise SEN as a thing. So I went to that sixth form. That's when I struggled the most, because all the girls there had to do tests to get in and stuff, so they were all super clever.
Yeah.
And then they had this one room at the top of the school for SEN that I'd visit, and it was like being the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like hidden away.
Yeah, it's not very inclusive.
I was there for 3 weeks, and they asked me to drop down to 2 A levels, because they didn't think I'd be able to achieve 3. Just stuff like that, and obviously you're getting used to a new school. They're asking you to do that.
It chips away at you.
Yeah. So then I turned a lot to bacon during sixth form, and I made everyone's 18th birthday cake.
No way.
Yeah, because it was the only way I got like positive feedback while I was there. People would be like, "Oh, this is amazing." It was because it was an old private school. They had like head girls and all that. So the birthday cake I made for the head girl, I got all the head teachers to sign.
Wow.
Like, they were all out there birthday cakes. I made the prom cake, and the school symbol was forget-me-nots, and I had a forget-me-not for every student in sixth form.
But yeah, that makes sense that you wanted to do it. Like, that would be your way of getting some positive feedback. And I can totally see that.
So I think like that's where I gathered a lot of my skills between like that age, because that in that school that was the only way I was getting like really positive feedback.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. When were you diagnosed? Was that at primary school then?
Yeah. So I was first diagnosed with dyslexia while I was in primary school.
Yeah.
Had the she's just lazy back a couple of times. I had a teacher that tried to explain dyslexia that was like, everyone's got light bulbs in the head, and some of yours just don't work.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, okay.
Oh no, that is awful.
Is honestly
at primary school as well. Was that?
Yeah.
That's the sort of, well, obviously it stuck with you. I was going to say, it's the sort of thing, isn't it, that sticks with you? And oh my goodness, that is horrendous.
I luckily found like a dyslexic unit outside the school, with an amazing woman called Michelle Pembleton. And I went there from 8 to 22. She done all my uni work, everything. I used to go see her between 2 and 4 times a week. Probably my dad had to like remortgage his house to send me.
I was gonna say,
it was amazing. She like helped me so much.
So is that like private tuition then, sort of after school?
Yeah, private tuition tailored towards SEN children.
Brilliant.
So while I was there, I met other SEN kids, because I don't think there was only me in my primary school at that time. So it was amazing to like meet kids, be able to learn off them as well.
Yeah.
And just feel like you weren't the only one struggling.
Yeah. Absolutely, that must have made a huge difference, just to know you're not alone and not the only one. It
Yeah,
sounds
I
like you've
think
got a
that's where,
really supportive family as well, the fact that they've paid for you to do all of that after school, and yeah,
yeah. So I think that's where I got like so much confidence about
yeah,
and surrounding SEM, because that's where I learned it was a positive thing. So I think that bubbled me quite a lot during secondary school,
yeah.
because during secondary school I was told like by the French teacher I wasn't allowed to French GCSE because I couldn't speak English, so there was
What?
no point me learning French.
Oh my goodness.
So
It's these comments as well. Like, it's really, the teacher probably doesn't even remember saying it, but you will remember that forever. Do you know what I mean? It's like the light bulb comment. They stick with you, don't they? Harsh comments like
yeah,
that. It's not okay.
it
Oh,
is mental. And then I done a drama GCSE, and instead they were like, oh, because you're not doing French, you do drama now. And I was just like, um, I think it is crazy, but I do feel like it's changed so much,
yeah.
because I think it's constantly evolving. Like when I was in school, neurodiversity definitely wasn't a word. I don't
No,
think, like,
I
I'd
don't
never
think I
heard it.
heard it. No.
So I do think it's constantly changing. I think there's different tiers for things across the world. I've done a couple of podcasts with Americans, and they call ASD.
Yeah, and they call
Like,
ADHD like ADD, don't they, or something? Is that
yeah.
right as well? Yeah.
So I just think it's a learning process for everyone. And I just don't think schools and teachers were as clued up
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah. I'm caught up now. So, what would your advice be for teachers? Because there'll be lots of teachers listening to this, and like Senkos and like head teachers. What would your advice be for like strategies or helping children like yourself when you were a child, with like dyslexia and dyspraxia and ADHD? What would you wish they'd have done more of?
Um, I wish that there probably would have been like more informal conversations about like the help I needed,
Yeah.
um, stuff like that. Asking whether you're actually comfortable,
Hmm.
for like a special needs assistant to follow you around,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's helpful. It's not what you want.
No,
You
especially when
know,
you're in secondary, when you're a teenager, it's yeah,
yeah. It sometimes makes you stand out a bit more. People are
yeah,
like, "Why have you got that? Are you stupid?" And you're like, "Oh." Um,
yeah,
at one point, I wore the glasses, to stop the words. So they were
yeah. So
dark
like
green lenses.
a coloured lens in
Um,
them.
and then I had pink Versace frames because obviously. So yeah, we don't need anything else to help us stand out. We stand out
Yeah.
enough.
Oh, bless.
Um, sometimes we want to blend in, and maybe there should be pre-conversations
Yeah,
like, do you want support before you come into class? So while you're in class, you know what's going on already.
yeah.
You can keep up, or support afterwards. So the room's not constantly stopping, so you can keep up.
Yeah, no, that, yeah, just helping you sort of blend in more and having those like informal chats beforehand and asking, do you want your teaching assistant to be with you all the time, or do you want them just to check in with you every so often and look like they're supporting the whole class and not just you? I suppose would be
Yeah,
helpful. And then just, yeah, do you want us to go through what we're going to be covering before the lesson? Yeah, it's sort of bringing in the child into the conversations, isn't it, that the adults are having, and sort of, yeah, making them have a bit more control over it. That's
because
really
that's
good
it. A lot of
advice.
people make decisions about your education without you being
Yeah.
involved, and they limit you to what they think you can achieve without asking you
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think that's, yeah, it's like having the child in mind, actually thinking about the child, isn't it, and getting their opinion included, because it's their education.
Yeah,
That's a really good
it is.
point. I like that.
I visited an amazing neurodiverse school the other day in Highton. Oh, I forgot the name now. Begins with an A. It was totally catered towards neurodiverse children. They
Brilliant.
had sensory rooms, chill out zones, small classes. It was like,
Wow.
I went there and I was just like, wow, this is amazing, because I got invited there because my old form tutor from school had moved there, and
Oh, cool.
he was like, yeah, like for like the first couple of years of school, I didn't even know you had like all these issues. He was
Yeah.
like, you just used to mask it really well, and I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, you're struggling so much, but you're trying to be so normal sometimes.
Yeah, but then it makes it harder because no one notices, and then they don't get the help you need, but you don't want the help. It's a minefield, isn't it? So is that something you're doing now then? Are you going to schools and
I try and visit as many like local schools as I can, because I'm still working full time. So every other Friday I have a day off and visit the school this Friday. Because I just think it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. I find it dead positive. I think it's quite positive for the kids to do something fun in school definitely. As well. And then I go to a place called Strawberry Fields a lot, which is a scheme set up by the Salvation Army to help people with neurodiversity that can't or have struggled to get jobs between 19 and 25. It's like Brilliant. A year scheme that provides some skills to get jobs.
That's fantastic.
It's an amazing place. So they do like 6 weeks training in class, and then in Strawberry Fields itself, they've got a cafe, a visitors experience and stuff.
Yeah.
Where they then put them out for training for 8 weeks, and then they find them training for 12 weeks in cafes and places around the local community.
That's brilliant. So you can sort of have a go at the job sort of in a more safe area within this sort of this setting, and then when you build your skills up, you can then go off and hopefully,
it's absolutely amazing, because they have a lot of autistic students there, and at the end of the 6 weeks, they do a presentation, and they've got to give a 4-minute speech. And there's like a 4-minute speech for anyone is a lot.
Yeah.
But a 4-minute speech for people who struggle with eye contact and stuff like that, standing up in front of people, like, that's asking them like for the world, and every one of them got up and done it. Wow. And it was absolutely amazing. And then the best part was they got me up at the end to give everyone certificates, and I couldn't read anyone's name, and I was
like, but that's good though, isn't it? Because it's showing that, you know what I mean, it's good. It's showing you're a role model. You're showing people that you find things difficult as well, and you're the same. Do you know what I mean? It's it's
because it was hilarious, but I love that place. I love it so much. And then when I go into schools, I just like ice cupcakes, teach different icing methods.
Cool. Yeah.
Which is also amazing to see, like, how everyone deals with the different textures of food, because food is like a whole thing as well when you're neurodiverse.
Yeah, sort of the sensory aspect as well of it. Yeah.
Yeah, who can touch egg whites, who can't, like... the noises of the mixers, everything.
Is that Prudence we can hear?
Yeah. That was him running down barking.
Oh, that's really cool. So what's your future then, Lizzie? What do you want to do? What's your aim? Oh, you're not sure?
That's it. I'm just not sure. At the minute, I'd love to write a cookbook for neurodiverse like people.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just because I find cookbooks a bit hard.
Yeah.
A lot of them are on white paper. If they haven't got a photo, I'm not making it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So like having visuals, having like bigger text, bigger spacing, nice font, that sort of stuff, and background colour. Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Just like different methods as well. Because I think we've all got to remember that baking is just a bit of fun, to be honest. And all these rules and gatekeeping things like just shouldn't be a thing. Like some people struggle like with like I do, coordination and stuff. So lining a cake tin is a nightmare.
Oh, of course, yeah.
There's so much more easier ways. Like you can, instead of lining it with strips and making sure everything's to size, and you can just get a massive piece of baking paper, stick it under some water so it's damp, crumple it, dry it out a bit, and fit it perfect. It just takes
No way. I'm going to steal that myself when I next bake a cake. That's a brilliant suggestion. Yeah, you need to get these in a book. That would be, it's like tips like that are so useful, aren't they?
Yeah, there's ways around stuff that we don't need to stick to the norms, because why?
Yeah, if it doesn't work for everybody, don't do it. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
I just don't think it's a thing that's actually being thought about. I think baking is something that's really gatekeeped, and it's really like, no, you make a cake this way, and this is why you do it. And at the end of the day, it's not fun. You just want to get in there, don't you, and colour some icing and go a bit crazy.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, you do. And it is, you're right. When you look at the like baking instructions, the recipes, they're always like, you need to put your oven on first, you need to do this. Then whilst this is happening, you need to do this. And that can be really challenging, I imagine, if you've got to be multitasking and thinking, right, have I done that? And then I've got to do this at the same time. And yeah.
Yeah. And even like, like when it says chill for 2 hours, as a kid, I really struggled to, how am I going to divert for this task for 2 hours and then come back to it?
Yeah.
So there should be suggestions like, in 2 hours you could watch a film, you could walk your dog, come back. Like that's a 2 hour gap. Like there needs to be stuff that's like, okay, so that is what 2 hours looks like, so I can.
Yeah, because a lot of it's like a presumed knowledge for kids, isn't it? But kids don't understand time. Like time's really a really challenging aspect for a lot of children, isn't it? Like 2 hours. Yeah. My kids will say to me, like, how long's that? And I'm like, it's the length of a so-and-so episode on the TV or something. Because it's really hard to imagine how long something's going to be. So yeah, that's a really good suggestion.
It's really hard to. I definitely feel like it's something that should be there. It should be on the market. Like 1 in 7 people. Why are we being ignored?
Absolutely. Oh, do that. That sounds brilliant. Yes. So that's your future then, hopefully write this book.
Hopefully. Yeah. And then just do more nice charity stuff. That's what makes me happy, like going to schools. The last school I went into, they were like, why don't you train to be a teacher? And I was like, I do not want all that work, thanks. I'm happy coming in, messing up a classroom and then going home.
Squirting a bit of icing around, having a chat to the kids and then leaving it all to you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It is. How can people find you on social media then? What are links can you give us?
So Lizzie Acker _ on Instagram and Lizzie Acker Bakes on TikTok. TikTok's a bit more fun.
I'm not on TikTok. We do. Emily, who works on our like Twinkle SEND team, is brilliant, and she's on TikTok, but I'm not on there yet. So you'd recommend TikTok then?
Oh, it's so much more fun. And not every video has to be serious. Like some videos, me and Freya just dance.
Brilliant.
It's just sort of fun to do. But yeah, and then every week on Instagram, me and Freya do something we haven't done. That's our challenge this year. And we've got up to loads of weird stuff so far. And
what have you done?
So we've been and played squash.
Oh god, squash is hard.
We went to Oxford and rode with the Hartford Oxford team. Rode a tandem. When we went to Leicester with Chigs a couple of weeks ago, we went like rock climbing up walls.
Oh wow.
Just to like try and get out there, because we've all been locked away for 2 years. I think we've missed a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we should start doing more random stuff.
Yeah, sounds fun. Yeah, just living, enjoying it.
Yeah. Just trying things. So we'd go and try random things and do stuff together and then put it on Instagram every week.
Brilliant. I'm going to have a look after this. And if anyone wants to follow your wonderful dog as well, how can they find Prudence on Instagram?
Oh, Prudence the Betty on Instagram. I need to start posting more stuff. She gets up to some funny things. We do every Christmas. We normally do a photo shoot. Because I'm sad, we make Christmas cards. Yeah. One year we controversially went as baby Jesus and Mary.
Oh. How did that go down? Did it go down all right? Or?
Well, all my friends that are quite religious like really found it hilarious, and I was like, "This is sound then, isn't
it?" That's okay. Test it out on them first. Brilliant.
This is all right. But yeah, so we do some nice stuff and go to dog friendly places.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. Oh, you've been such an amazing guest. I've been so excited. I feel like I've just about chilled out from my excitement of seeing you at the start. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
How brilliant was she? So excited that I was able to chat to Lizzie. And yeah, really, really useful episode. Lots of tips about supporting children with special education needs in schools and the strategies she uses and her experience, as well as a bit about Bake Off. Anyway, thanks for listening to Sending the Experts with me, Georgina Durrant, and see you next time.